Our pace of living leaves us little time for leisure. Our program will give you a chance to experience the fascinating world of traveling, extreme adventures, hunting and fishing. Each week we will take you to the most beautiful places of Kazakhstan. The hunting season is coming to an end. In the new year, there will be an opportunity to hunt only for fur animals. Not so long ago, we were lucky to obtain a license to enter the territory of National Park of Ile-Alatau. According to the documents, we have the right to hunt for 1 red deer and wild boar. The license duration is limited to December the 31st, so we decided not to postpone the hunt and start out to the mountains at one of the weekends.
Ну все, можно выезжать.
Well, that's it. We can start out. We've got the licenses. We've got the license for red deer and wild boar. Lighting the way with its headlights, our SUV was moving towards the city of Talga. We started out late at night, so as to be on time and reach the spot, and climb up one of the peaks. Initially, we had no idea how hard our way would be. Of course, we knew that red deer inhabit quite high in the mountains, but we didn't know we would have to overcome almost alpine climbing. Moving through the fallen trees and deep snow, we were moving deeper into the forest. Our guide warned us right away that the way to the top lies only through one gorge. The rest of the ways hit the rock walls.
Приехали, еще было темно.
We arrived while it was still dark. We started our climbing. The time is short. We went out to the top. We had only 15 minutes left. Moving at night through the forest sections in the mountains is not easy, but we had to get to the top before the sunrise.
Ну вот, наконец мы совершили подъем. На это нам потребовалось чуть более 3 часов.
Well, finally, we made it to the top. It took us a little over 3 hours. Since early in the morning, we've been trying to reach the top. The rocks are very steep. The sharp vertical zoning is what makes our mountains different. The hike wasn't easy. Rising up was very hard, even though we had no load on us. It is widely known that wild animals can be seen either early in the morning or at the sunset. The rest of the time they spend hiding in dense forest and deep gorges. Noticing an animal in the mountains requires not only a good binocular, but also well-trained vision. Yevgeny noticed a male morel at the pasture of nearby slope. The distance is enormous.
Сейчас мы заняли господствующую вершину. Будем наблюдать.
Now we are at a higher peak. Let's watch. Now you can see a red deer feeding on the slope far away. It's around 1.5 kilometers from here. Shooting this far is almost impossible. The observation is usually done from higher ground. First, a place where the animal is feeding is identified, and only after that the hunting itself begins.
На улице достаточно холодно.
It's quite cold outside. We have good observation positions. Let's see if the red deer can come out. This is a southern slope. It is almost snow-free. They feed here. The weather is not bad today, but it's quite freezing. And cool wind is blowing too. We scan the slopes, but still have no result. The second group reports that they noticed 2 red deer in the nearby gorge. After a brief discussion, we decide to change our location. We move to the next gorge on the ridge. When on the spot, we have to make an unplanned stop. Thick fog covered the mountains. The visibility dropped down, and it was impossible to continue the hunt. On the slope itself, we start small fire and warm up our food. A good and filling breakfast of hot pearl barley porridge helps us warm up. The weather changes rapidly. The fog covered the mountains and it started to snow. According to the forecast, the sun should come out around noon and then we can keep hunting. While we have some free time, we decide to take a walk to the nearby gorge, where we set up video traps and check on our catch. The male roe deer voice reached us from somewhere far away. Apparently, the owner of this land was not happy to see us. We tried to take a look deeper, but there was no chance. We apologized for the inconvenience and moved higher. Our photo traps spent over a month in this remote and mountainous area. We are curious to see what they got. Knowing that the Ile-Alatau mountains are rich in wildlife, we can expect anything. The first few shots were not interesting for us. Some curious magpies and crows came to pose in front of the camera. But a wild mountain boar visited the feeder at night. Without paying attention to the camera, the boar was doing his job. The wild boar, in general, is an omnivorous mammal. It is different from farm pigs by its short and massive body, while the pigs were derived from the wild boar. Besides, the wild boar's head is longer and thinner. Its ears are longer, sharper and standing. It has sharp tusks, more developed in males than in females. Its body length can reach 175 centimeters. And the weight of an adult boar can be up to 200 kilograms. After the boar, the marals show up in the open area. Maral is one of subspecies of red deer. In general, the type of red deer includes many subtypes, where the animals are different from each other by size, weight, color and some other features. Caucasian and European deer, maral, Siberian stag are all subtypes of this kind of animal. The red deer has antlers with many branches, usually at least 5, that form a certain recognizable crown on top of the antlers. The total number of subtypes of red deer is 15. Our visitors were young representatives of this type. It is very easy to find wild animals in the Ile-Alatau mountains. All it takes is hike to some deeper land and a good look. We were lucky to watch the amazing mountain goats on the rocky slopes. A herd of goats occupied one of the rock cliffs. The weather is on our side. The snow stopped, fog vanished, and the slopes are sunlit again. Without wasting our time, we decided to get back to the slope, where we noticed the marals. Ruslan says that probably the animals are resting somewhere in the forest. We decide to get closer as much as possible.
Глубина снега на вершине уже достаточно большая, идти сложно.
The snow is quite deep on top now. It's hard to walk, but we are getting through it. Examine the mountain slopes where marals and wild boars can be feeding. They love these places. The southern slopes are still free from snow and they come here to feed on grass. The most important thing in the mountains is to try and make as little noise as possible. Walking on top of the ridge is not hard at all. We cross the gorge and freeze. A wild boar is feeding at the slope. After a brief discussion, we decide to use our license for the wild boar.
Один выстрел, один трофей. Руслан реализовал свой шанс.
One shot, one trophy. Ruslan took his chance and got his boar. Now we will go and take a look at the trophy, where it is and how big it is. The boar is not too large, but very good for cooking. Also, there's New Year's Eve coming soon, and such a meal will be great for any dinner. Looking at our prey, we decide to finish our hunt. We did not use our license for morale. Getting a wild animal in mountains is not an easy task, and it's much harder to take it out of there. Often you have to carry it by yourself, and that's what we did this time. We had a downhill hike ahead of us at 60 degrees angle. Walking down was impossible. The only thing you can do is slide down the mountain. In the gorge, at one of the turns, an unexpected thing happens. 3 guys from our group lose their path and barely manage to stop near the cliff drop.
По-моему, это самое страшное, что я видел в своей жизни. Из доли приключений, конечно. Не будем.
I think it was the most frightening adventure I saw in my life. This trip was the hardest. We were at the very edge. We started moving down from the top. The snow crust was slippery, it wasn't holding, and we literally rolled down the hill. We stopped 10 meters away from a 30-meter drop. With our backpacks full. Getting a game is one thing, but taking it out is completely different. It took us half an hour to cover 25 meters of the climb. I don't know which side we are on, and which side the exit is. There's only one exit through the gorge, from this top. The rock walls are everywhere. We are trapped. We will have to find our way. Very hard. I'm already exhausted. My gloves, clothes, shoes, everything is soaking wet. My rams are in frostbites and hot holding. I'm tired. It's very hard. Working together, we finally managed to get to the path leading down to our cars. We made it, although with some adventures. This is both the worst and the best day in my life. Everyone will remember this hunt for a long time. This was really a physically difficult, extremely dangerous, but very interesting hunt. Mountain hunting is an acid test for real men. We are still coming back without any regret. We had a great weekend, got some new emotions and impressions. Even though we did not use our second license, we are still satisfied, as we know this money will be used to preserve the biological diversity of our nature.